Some of the biggest anti-Trump voices may go silent in a matter of days. That's because there may be a writer's strike, okay? So it depends. According to the Huffington Post, it says here that the current contract between the Writers Guild of America, the organization representing 12,000 Hollywood film and TV writers, and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents the writers' employers, expires on May 3rd. So there's a 670-page document that goes into the specifics about their pay minimums, how they should handle these disputes, and apparently they're negotiating all that right now. And it's all going to depend. So according to Huffington Post, once again, quote, in the case of a strike, programs like The Late Show, Full Frontal, The Daily Show, and SNL that have voiced some of the toughest criticisms of President Donald Trump on national television would face an immediate blackout. Now, it affects them the most because they're daily topical, writing stories, shows, as opposed to if this was a scripted show, as opposed to if this is a movie, that will impact them later on, but this would immediately. So if there's to be a writer's strike on May 3rd, that night, it's blackout. That's how immediate it is. So what do the writers want? According to HuffPo, quote, the strike dispute is centered around TV. The WGA has stated that its writers aren't profiting off the current boom in TV production as much as their employers are. They're asking for more compensation across the board and from digital platforms in particular. And we saw this with the last writer's strike. They wanted more compensation within the digital world. And now even with more production and more digital shows and more streaming, they want more of that. So they want, now that they're seeing that their employers are making more money, they want a piece of that pie too. So we'll see if they're able to negotiate and make it work. Thoughts, 5 words or less?
Yay, Big Bang Theory reruns.
I should have hired a writer.
That's good.
Strike 2.
Ooh, better write this wrong. WRIT. Oh, shut up.
Wordplay.
I hope that. Okay, do you think
pregnant? How do you do it?
I usually have pregnant.
You're Serena Williams of Pop Trigger.
You saw that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She announced it yesterday. Yeah, the Serena Williams of Pop Trigger. Boop, take it. So that was my backhand.
Nope.
No, front hand?
Forehand for sure.
Forehand. I know nothing about tennis.
Anyways, let's talk about the writers.
Okay, the writer's strike. So you have writing experience. You obviously have writing experience. Yeah. You do too.
I went to high school.
No,
so
but meaning like, are any of you in the guild?
Are
any of you guys in the guild?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm
not
been a script consultant.
But we all know that the writing is what establishes and makes you show. They should be compensated fairly.
I was just talking about this with a friend of mine who works in development, and I sort of wanted his opinion on what they can negotiate with here. And he's like, unfortunately, I don't think that they have a huge amount of negotiating power because there isn't, unfortunately, if there isn't a huge demand aside from late night television, because we're always wanting to catch up on shows. Because I was basically talking to him about how there are all these shows I haven't seen. I need to finish Crashing. I want to watch this. I haven't gotten to see Horace and Pete yet, and I want to watch this.
There's so much TV out there.
And he's like, if they go on, they'll go on strike. And he's like, and unfortunately, you'll still have tons of new content for the next 6 months. So that's in the favor of, not in favor of the Writers Guild, because people aren't going to have this outcry. Unfortunately, late night television is going to be hit really hard. Yeah. And that's where some of the best, most biting satirical commentary is coming from these days in the Trump administration. So that's where we're going to feel it. But if that's not part of what you watch, then you'll still have tons of new shows. And the episodes are, the episode requirement is shorter, or not episode, order is shorter. There's no syndication.
In the original days, back in '04, when I was working at a talent agency, they would have 22 episode seasons, and that would take you through much of the year, and then you'd have summer off. And so if you were a writer, it was awesome because you get paid every week, and then you get paid more for your script. So they'll give you like 3 weeks off, and you'd get like 32 grand for your script in making that plus whatever 3,400 bucks a week you were getting on the set. Now, you could do other shows if it conflicted, or some of the contracts would be so like you couldn't work on other shows. Now, if that exclusivity carries over, and you're only doing 12 episodes a year, that's half of what you would be paid, and that's given the old budgets when there were only 4 networks or maybe 12 networks that anyone ever watched, and then you'd have more viewers and more money coming in. Now everyone's trying to take it to cheaper. There's fewer places that are actually
fewer
giving
episodes.
out money.
Yeah, well, you'll have 7 episodes.
Just really quick, the skew toward reality TV.
Yeah, or like the shows that people love. So Big Little Lies. There were 7 episodes of Big Little Lies, but those writers probably still had exclusivity provisions that stopped them from working on other shows when they were done working on Big Little Lies. And even though people loved Big Little Lies, which I'm just throwing out as an example, it doesn't mean that they're making anything from doing the reruns or syndication or anything like that. Whereas before, if you got a show to reach 100 episodes, I remember watching the behind the scenes of Gilmore Girls when it reached 100 episodes, and it was this huge party of everyone that worked on the show, and it's just totally different now because when that happened for Gilmore Girls, those writers knew, great for me, and you can work on a celebrated show that everyone loves, and you just won't get that same sort of kickback.
And
you'd get it in season 5 as opposed to season 10 that you would need now to get 100 episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that people on the outside, hopefully, like what's also going to happen is that on the upside, that's all the negative about it. But like, hopefully, the political climate that's going on right now with all the protests, that like the Writers Guild will be able to not just get people who are in the Writers Guild involved, because this should be a shot across the bow for everyone. And hopefully, I think America is turning back to unions, or at least part of America is turning back to unions, and understanding that we need that, and that if the Writers Guild is injured, if like the Directors Guild, SAG-AFTRA, like we're one of the few industries that still has a strong union, and if that falls, like there's no chance for any unions to survive, and we need those unions. People are starting to realize that, because corporations will take everything from you if you let them. Like we will all be like little Dickens characters writing scripts,
Little tiny things.
For like, and they'll be like, oh, it's Sunday afternoon, like, yeah, I get back to work, figure out another pun,
Yeah. Sir, may I have another Wi-Fi password?
Hopefully, I'm not in the Writers Guild. I am promising you right now that I will be at least at one of the things to support.
That's awesome.
And I think like, if you're not in the Writers Guild, if you're a person who just loves TV and loves network TV and laughing and scripted stuff, and you hate reality TV shows or whatever, like go out and support these people. Like write the networks, write the production companies, tell Netflix, tell Amazon, tell all of these people that you support the people who actually create those shows. Like Breaking Bad is good because it was written by a genius who is in the union.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna leave it on that note, unless you have one more thing you want to add.
There's also some pretty hilarious stories out there about what happened during the last writer's strike.
Tell us.
Like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, they didn't have time to finish the script before the shooting happened, and it shows. Like it is a nonsensical film because they had essentially just what was available to get to like an outline essentially. And then there's a story that you gotta look at. It's like an oral history of 2009 films ruined by the writer's strike. There's Star Trek. Kurtzman and Orsi are the 2 writers that write a lot of stuff that you've seen, including I think Revenge of the Fallen. But they finished the script, but they weren't allowed to change anything on set. But they were also producers, and they were very loyal to the union strike, but they are also still like invested in their project, so they can't change any words. So they were just trying to use facial expressions.
No way.
To like communicate like that was good, that was not good.
No
like when someone
way.
ad-libbed, they were like, but they didn't violate anything. But it's a really great read. I think I would suggest people go find it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. What's it called?
An oral history of 2009 films ruined by the writer's strike.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
a quick title.
Yeah, very quick. Yes. All right. So please keep the conversation going. We want to know what you have to say, and just to echo what you said, Ed, get out there. We do have a voice. We've seen it. How we can sign petitions. We can contact the Alliance of Motion Picture and stand behind these writers. And we'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.